Hello, this is Wanker Reviews, and today I will be reviewing BlacKkKlansman, written and directed by Spike Lee. I heard that this was based on a true story. I don't know too much about the true story, but I did watch the trailer a couple of weeks ago. I saw maybe 30 seconds of it, and I will admit that I had no intentions of watching it simply because it came off as a movie that had a lot of white saviors, and that's a common theme in Hollywood when you're talking about race is is to throw in a white savior to make the white audience comfortable. So I had no intentions of watching this, but I did get an opportunity to go to a free screening on AMC at 42nd Street in New York City, and I will say that it didn't piss me off as much as I thought it would. It was very entertaining. The acting was really good. It didn't feel like a 2-hour movie. It was well directed, and I would watch it again. But that's not to say that there weren't things that did piss me off. My first issue was the colorism. Hollywood has a habit of casting a dark-skinned male actor, and his love interest is either light-skinned or non-black. This movie is supposed to be about anti-racism and about getting back at the Klan, but they dropped the ball with not having a dark-skinned lead actress. Instead, the only dark-skinned actress with any lines in the movie is a sidekick to the light-skinned actress. Another major issue I had was the constant coddling of whites. It was obvious that they're catering to a white liberal audience. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but at the very end of the movie, they show like a montage of, white people chanting Black Lives Matter. And they also do a rest in power, paying respects towards the white woman that got hit by a car in Charlottesville last year. And, this movie's supposed to be about racism against black people, but instead of paying respects towards black victims like Mike Brown or Walter Scott, we're supposed to cry over one white woman that got killed and who actually got justice. Like all these black people that got killed by police haven't gotten any justice whatsoever, but we're supposed to, shout out, one white woman that got killed but got justice. And I'm not trying to like disrespect the dead or anything, but it's like, come on, like it's one person, and it was so obvious that they were just trying to throw that in to make the white people feel good. And Spike Lee is supposed to be super pro-black, I guess. I've seen a few of his movies, and that's what he comes across as. So shame on him for going along with propaganda. I guess he's going along with it in order to get his movies financed, although I heard that a few years ago, he would get his money from Kickstarter or other online donations. So I guess for this movie, he had to depend on a lot of white backers. But still, shame on him for selling out. And speaking of white coddling, the lead actor, the black male lead actor that plays the infiltrator, he came across as someone who was really unlikable. He was It seemed like he was battling between being pro-black and being a save a whitey. His character even went as far as to defend cops by saying that not all cops were bad, knowing good and well that black people were being beaten and killed, knowing that black women were being sexually assaulted by the cops, and no justice was being seen after this. And he himself was being racially profiled by a cop at his job, because he's a detective, so he has like white co-workers who are cops, and he was being racially targeted every single day, and no one was doing anything to help him. Instead, he would always get shamed for reacting, like his the white police chief. I guess he was the white police chief and other white people he worked with would kind of shame him and guilt him into not reacting to him being racially targeted at work. So I thought it was real funny that he would go out of his way to say, hey, not all cops are bad. And I'm not going to say that he was a coon, but I don't know, like he was kind of playing both sides. He wanted to defend whites, but he had like a pro-blackness to him as well. Again, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but yeah. And another thing is that he would defend like the white cops, the white detectives at his workplace, and even though it was even though they came off to him as being good cops, good white people who weren't racist, it was very obvious that these characters, that these white detectives were closeted white supremacists themselves, because they even like flat out admit that they won't turn against their own, meaning they won't turn against bad cops because they're all the same and they're, you know, family, and they're sticking to a code, whether good, right, bad or wrong, bad, wrong, right or good. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. Now, one thing I did, okay, just to finish off what I just said, yeah, so his white, so-called good white people at his job would openly admit that they weren't going to speak out against police brutality. They were all on a code. But the black actor was like so adamant on trying to get them to change their minds instead of being on a code himself. And that's a problem that black people even today have. Like, we don't make up our own code. We're not on a code while everyone else is on a code, and that's what gets us in the end. But I'm not going to go too much into that. But one thing I did really like about this movie was the fact that the only white woman in this movie that had any lines, the only white female main character in this movie, was morbidly obese, while every single black female character in this movie was in shape and very attractive. And that's something that's very rare to see in mainstream movies or even in indie movies, where black women are portrayed as attractive and in shape, and the white women, you know, in the same movie are morbidly obese, very unattractive, very unladylike. And that was something that really stuck out to me because it's so rare, and I actually loved seeing that. And speaking of the morbidly obese white female character, she's like the wife of one of the KKK members, so she's super like over the top, and I couldn't tell if she was purposely made to be over the top in order for the white audience to disconnect from that character, or if the actress herself was just a really bad actress. I think she was, I'm honestly not sure, but I personally think that she was made to be super like over the top, laying it on extra thick, racist, and almost in a way where it looked cartoonish. And I think she was made to look cartoonish so the white audience could disconnect from it. And that's the common theme with this movie, is that whenever a black person would get any kind of payback when it came to race, they would always have to do a crossover scene where a white person was over the top, unrealistically good, an unrealistic white savior, And it just was really unbelievable. And that's not to say there aren't any good white people out there and all white people are evil, but it was just very unrealistic. And it got to the point where they were laying it on super extra thick with the white saviorism, with the, oh, not all white folks is bad nonsense, that towards the end of the movie, like by the time the credits started rolling, I just couldn't help but roll my eyes over and over again, because it was so obvious that they were trying to make the white audience as comfortable as possible. And that's because of what happened at the end of the movie. Again, I won't give any spoilers, but that really has to do a lot with the outcome of the movie plot and how it played out. So they had to, like, coddle and, kiss the white ass as much as possible in order to make white people not be offended by what was happening. So they had to pay homage to, random white liberals at protest who don't do anything tangible anyway. But overall, I still give it a 7 out of 10 because it was well made and it was entertaining, and I most likely will watch it again. I can be entertained by something and still look past all the BS propaganda that they push. So yeah, I do recommend it, but it is BS at the same time. So yeah, thanks for watching.